Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to create a riser with a really easy technique. It accepts a wide variety of source material as the content you're going to use to create the riser, and it adapts to any tempo or BPM you're working at, and it's not exclusive to Ableton at all. Any sampler that gives you the ability to automate start time as a parameter, you can use this technique in. So here I've got a simpler loaded. This is our sample player in Ableton. Let's take a listen to this sample right here. So that's a downward riser or a downlift. So if we drop that in right here, we can see the energy sort of fades out. And if we want to create a riser, for example, in this case, I'm going to cut the sample so that we start from here and then rise up towards the left. So essentially we're going to go backwards, but instead of reversing the sample, I'm actually just going to go in here and create a MIDI pattern. Now this can be any MIDI pattern you want. There's really nothing special or sophisticated about this part of the process, but you can go in and completely customize it as well. So for example, let's just take this right here. We could create a little double time effect right there. Okay, now this is just one bar, and we're going to extend this later on, but for now we're going to start with one bar. We're going to go to sample start. Let's turn this off. Let's take a listen. So there's our sound. I'm going to hone in now on, I guess, like the brightest part. Or wherever I want it to end. And we can do some cool things here, like we could randomize this, but for now I'm just going to create a nice smooth curve up to the top. And this is where it gets darker right here. So we're actually just going to do the opposite. So we're going to start here and bring it up back around here. Okay, so here's our riser now. Pretty neat. It's got more of a unique sound than just reversing the sample. It's a bit more interesting because we have this rhythm going on. But if you need a longer riser than just one bar, we can very easily just go in and duplicate this. So we'll do that right there. And then when it comes to our modulation, here's our sample start. We will just delete these points. And now we have a longer riser. And if you just take a look at what's going on in the sampler, you can see that it doesn't really matter how long or short our riser is, because we can continuously scale the length of time it takes to get from the beginning to the end of the sample, or vice versa, with this curve right here. So the other thing here we can do, because we've chopped this up now essentially into little bits, is we could go in and adjust the transposition here. We can put in random pan. And there's a whole number of other things you can do too, like automate the filter. Now, the interesting thing here is I can simply just drag another sample in here and drop it in and just take a listen. And to me, this is what's really key. To be able to quickly experiment by swapping things out is very important, because like laziness, time constraints, all of these are kind of working against you. So if you can circumvent that and make things easy, you can start to branch out a lot more. We'll try this one next. The interesting thing about this one is it's not really much of a riser. It's just a synth modulation effect. But if we put it in this setup, so that's pretty cool. So here's what I've ended up with, 4 layers. Let's just go and take a listen to this one right here. And then I've got these two, which are like white noise, but also a little bit more resonance, a little bit more of a metallic sound. And then finally a vocal sample, which I just threw in there, but actually required a little bit of tweaking to get it to sound just right. So if you look at the curve here, I've adjusted it because we've got some pitch changes. We've got some like little intonation changes. So we need to land on the right points with this sample for it to sound best. And there is actually a filter further on in the chain. This is part of a bus, and there's a low pass filter which comes in right here. It just shuts it down and then opens it up again. But this is what all four of them sound like together. And here's some processing afterwards. So this is what the riser sounds like in the mix. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks very much for watching. As always, a special thanks to my patrons as well. Take care.